What's up, guys? We're back at it again with another video. It's going to be another One Piece chapter live reaction. We've had about a week break from the last one going into this one, so let's just go ahead and get right into it. It's One Piece chapter 1182, titled Zaza. Now, what's interesting about that, I didn't know, it's Zaza, like Pokemon Legends Za, right here. Interesting enough, which this is an unopened game. I bought it when it came out. Haven't played it yet. Still plan to. Loved Arceus. Picked up Za. Just haven't really gotten down to play it, I'm not going to lie to you. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into the chapter titled Zaza. We do get a little note on the side of the cover page. Zaza is the Japanese onomatopoeia for heavy rainfall. I guess it's going to rain this chapter. Probably going to not be good. The cover page is Fujitora. It says, cover request by Toshikazu Isho, savoring a carefully prepared bowl of udon made by a fox and a tanuki. It's a good cover page, I guess. I mean, I like Fujitora. Who doesn't like foxes and tanukis? Shoot. Do we get note this week, guys? We do. I had an amazing meal with, I'm not going to butcher their name. When the series ends, I'd love to get a group of guys together and go on a big food tour. Based on the fact that he said food, I'm wondering if he's talking about, like, I don't know if Food Wars actually... Yeah, I'm not sure if Food Wars is actually still, like, a thing that's coming out or not. Because that's the only thing I could think of that's based around food, other than, I know there was that dungeon food show, like Dungeon Meshi, or whatever it was called. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. Let's actually get into the chapter 1182. So let's see what we got. So we start with Loki. Yeah, okay, so we're picking back up where Emu and Loki were just fighting, and Loki had just hit Emu 2 times, I think it was. Once, and then a small break, and then hit him again, so he's officially landed our first couple hits on Emu. Emu seemed pretty unfazed completely by the attacks. He was more just impressed or maybe even happy that the Nidhogg is really back, because he clearly has a past with the Nidhogg before. Narration, Emu was hit by Loki's Thorheim, but I still feel his presence, says Loki. Ragnar hops up on top of him. I'm too big to keep track of him properly. As we're looking down at the tree, we then see Eam. He says, Nidhogg, to think thou and I would meet again in this world. Traitor, he says. So clearly, Nika, or not Nika, my bad, Emu was working with the Nidhogg before, and odds are Nika then probably fought the Nidhogg, which makes sense as to why Luffy has rubber powers, right? Which make Loki's and the Nidhogg's thunder powers useless against him. It's kind of like explains why Luffy kind of had the counter to NL to begin with, and it's not to counter NL directly or because he's just rubber. It was probably made more directly to counter the Nidhogg. So I think that's really cool. That's kind of come full circle to kind of really makes a lot more sense now. It's not just because he was rubber. It's not just because we needed a way to beat NL, or that's why we made NL the lightning power. It was almost like foreshadowing for the future when we find out that there was a deeper reason for this. That whoever Luffy is based on, in this case being Nika, the sun god, once fought somebody who had thunder powers or lightning powers, and he had to be able to fight against him. Anyway, sorry, I'm on a lot of tangents this week. It's been a while since we had One Piece, so I'm pretty hyped to get into this chapter. Chapter continues with Emu saying, snow, of course. Lightning is born from colliding ice together. Or from colliding ice. And then he says, together, thine synergy is exceptional. Okay, I'm a little confused. Let's continue to get into it. I'm a little confused. He says snow, of course, right? Because that's, you know, what's coming down. He says lightning is born from colliding ice. So that's how Loki makes his lightning, I guess. He collides ice together. Maybe that's actually Ragnar's power instead. But it collides, because we know Ragnar controls ice. He's the one who froze Gunko, right? So he collides ice together, and that makes the lightning. Anyways, we know they used to work with Emu. Let's get back into it. He's saying, Ragnar, thou art as I remember thee, waiting all this time for a new master. How nostalgic. As we cut to big cut of Ragnar just in the main frame, just yelling back at Emu. Ragnar the Hammer, mythical, squirrel fruit model, Ratatosker. We finally get the official name. We've known that that's what Ragnar is, but it's actually cool, and it's really cool that Emu and Ragnar actually knew each other in the past. But clearly, since he can't talk, Ragnar is not going to give us anything about Emu. Continuing on, we actually see Ragnar put his hands out and starts like shooting what I would call like an ice beam out from his hands. Then Loki begins to charge up his thunder attack. They shoot it in conjunction with one another. They call it Ragna 5 arrows. And it looks like they're kind of just shooting chunks of ice or lightning out, kind of like in blitzes. It kind of looks like Kizaru's attack, where he shoots all the little, what is it? I think he calls it I think it ends in Magatama or something like that. It's supposed to be the one where he opens up like the big light in the sky, and then it shoots down all the light bullets everywhere, like what he used at Marineford when he was trying to stop Law from getting away with Luffy in the sub. It's what it looks like. Emu just opens up. It's like he takes what kind of to us seems to be a what was it called in the last chapter? An omen. He takes like the omen ring above his head, and he like points his hands up above it, and he like grows it in size. And then he says something that I can't pronounce because there's too many T's and Z's in it back to back. I can't pronounce that for the life of me. And then he says Nova Eclipse. And then we see more of the little chain chomp, little demon head things like shooting down. And they're shooting at Loki. It's like they're colliding with a lot of the blasts that are being shot at him. So this is kind of like Emu's widespread attack too, I guess. Or a widespread attack he has. We then just see a quick cut to Loki, quick cut to Emu, and then we just see the devastation on Elbaf, fire all over the place. Like, they're wreaking absolute havoc on the land right now with this battle. We then actually cut away from them. We're cutting to Bonnie. She says, scary. Oh, and of course, she's with Vegapunk. So Vegapunk says, Bonnie, get back here. It's not like I'm going out there to fight. Not against that guy anyways. Damn right, it's my job to look after you now, and I won't let that happen. Still, I wonder who he is. So we don't know? Really? So Vegapunk isn't certain as to who that is? He clearly outranks all of the Knights of God here, but he's not one of the 5 elders. I suppose it's only natural for a vast 8-century-old organization to have spawned some dark shadows given its history of power struggles. And what's really cool here is we actually see Lilith with Dr. Vegapunk like behind her, essentially. Like that is him inside the head of that body talking. Because I think a lot of us kind of lose track of the fact that because they're in a different body, that they're not Vegapunk, because they are kind of their own unique personality. But it's all still Vegapunk. His personality just split apart. Sanji, they actually have Sanji in front of him, so they saved him after Emu wiped him. Sanji's going to get up. Bonnie yells, wait, Sanji, your injuries are. And he says, I can't back down now, Bonnie-chan. Killing him and said, hey, Sanji, I guess I don't need to deal with you after all. I gotta admit, it's crazy you're even breathing after that. Or it's crazy you're even breathing after that. Where are you going, says Sanji. I'm going to see through the mission I came here for. Can't you tell? My power is overflowing now, says Killing him after he's put back together. Toodles, and then he just jumps off. Looks like he steps on Sanji and jumps off of him. Because Sanji spits up more blood. That prick hasn't given up on kidnapping the children yet, Sanji says, and then he dashes out. We can't let everyone's efforts be in vain. Usopp and Luffy admire this country, and it's my personal duty to protect Elbaf. It's the land of giant beauties, says Sanji, jumping off into the sky. I mean, look, that's straight. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Ripley is my goat in this story. Ripley is probably my favorite woman in this story. So I'm with Sanji here. I do like that he's doing it, though, because of Usopp and Luffy admiring the country so much for so long. And that is why Sanji's like, dude, we can't let, no matter what, it's not just our friends here, we cannot let anybody take this country and do damage. So we have to protect the people here. It's just really great. We then cut over to the Owl Library. So this should be, actually, it was Robin and Saul. And then we had seen Luffy and them at the school, which is near the library. So we could be cutting back to Luffy. To think that this back door led to an underground passage. Yep, it's gonna be Robin. Yes, all right. So we're actually going down underneath the library. It says there's an underground passage. This hidden room is unbelievable, says Saul and Robin, looking over to Biblo. You saved the books from the fire and brought them here, Biblo. Biblo just thinking, doesn't say anything. I'm waiting for Biblo to start talking. He's giving us the look right now like this dude can speak. I'm waiting to hear it. Considering Ragnar is a fruit that's been on Elbaf for a long time and has been living for a long time, and he's like an animated object, I'm now wondering if Biblo is also more like an animal or an object that was given in the mythical owl fruit model, whatever, that gives him his ability to shrink stuff and all, right? But really, he is an item, and that's why it seems that he's able to live forever like Ragnar is. Robin says, I thank you. I thought they had all been reduced to ashes. Saul continues, yeah, I'm grateful too, but I'm starting to see you're more of a mystery than I first reckoned. he trails off with dots, and then they go Biblo ... And this is him putting together what I just said. There's something more to it. He is either a person who has a fruit, or he is an item that ate this fruit. It is a unique or a special entity. It's not just an owl. Biblo clearly is also protecting all this knowledge for a reason. Like, maybe he came from long ago and he's trying to protect all this knowledge from long ago to try to, I guess, allow what everybody's been trying to allow to happen, or at least everybody but Emu and the world government, which is the coming back of Nika and / Joy Boy and saving the world. But it looks like we're cutting back away from Biblo, so just more to spectate on, or more to speculate on. Honestly, people were already thinking about what Biblo could be, so this gives more to it. Next, we are near the Western Village Sea Cloud Port. We just see one of the giant ships, heave-ho, flying out into the air. And it's another giant ship just dumps down onto the clouds. Oh, and it's Summers who just dropped it there. Well, that's pretty lame. Or at least that's what it looks like. He then says, okay, hello there, Summers here. No, wait, make that Super Summers. I found a suitable giant ship. Get the brats over here in the next 5 minutes, he says. Back to the Western Village Tavern. The forest is on fire. It's a war zone out there. We're actually cutting to Chopper, who is inside the building with Zoro and the rest of the giants who were mugged by Emu. He looks like he's doing some doctor work on him. Chopper's doctoring, as it were. That's a phone call. Sorry about that. Chopper says it was a clean cut, so this treatment should reattach your fingers, but it'll take a couple months to heal completely. Thank you, Chopper. I feel so useless, though. I'm supposed to be treating everyone myself. It can't be helped. Don't beat yourself up about it, says Chopper. Thank you, Dr. Chopper. You saved our moms. Man, Chopper is really the GOAT. He's out here saving all the kids. Hyrudine, Gerd, Rode, Stanson. It's just first aid. Once we're out of this mess, I'll treat them properly. Oh, Gerd Tasso, is this a dream? My top idol's fingers were severed. I humbly offer my fingers if you need a donor. Rode says to her. She goes, I'm good. How cool. And yet even your spite is something I'm grateful for in these trying times. Oh, that's actually really funny. And then Gerd actually says, I had to give it to you, though. Risking your life to save your brother Bjorn, I have a newfound respect for you, Roto. And he just goes, oh! And he freaks out for getting praise from Gerd, who is also pretty great. I like Gerd. She ain't no Ripley, but she's pretty great. Don't get too excited, Roto. You're making your wounds gush blood. I'm high on Gerd! I didn't like Rode at first. Rode, whatever you want to call him. I didn't like him at first when we first got him in OMAP, but I like him now. He's actually pretty funny. And then Bjorn behind him was just saying, and I was just starting to look up to you. Dude, I would. That's all the more reason, dude. He's great. We then continue from the Western Village near the port. Zoro's group. So Zoro's group is actually leaving out from that building. And it's Goldberg. Sorry about this, Goldberg. I'd take too long without a giant longer strides. It's okay. I'm the only member of the new giant pirates who hasn't suffered any major wounds in this battle. Besides, this is such a crisis for Elbaf. We're lucky to even have you fighting alongside us. This is Zoro and Goldberg. The journeys of the two guys we have all been waiting to see. You guys tell me we haven't been waiting on Zoro and Goldberg to get together. Exactly, because we have them. Anyways, continuing on. He says, don't sweat it. Our captain's motto is basically, my friend's country is my country, which is what he said on Wano, what he essentially said on Dressrosa. Yeah, Alabasta, Water 7, when stuff was going on there. Anytime something's ever happening at a place where Luffy's at, Shelltown, we gotta fix it. If my friends are here, we gotta fix it. And that's great. No wonder Hyrudine pledged himself to him. Zoro continues. But what's with those black flames? They turn into steel bullets and explosives, and those knights we beat seem to have powered up. If we don't wrap this up soon, it's gonna get real ugly, says Zoro, as he flings one of the little metal bullets into the air. I'm getting another phone call, I'm sorry. Let me see, it continues. Back in the Western Village port. Summers, I've gone and done it now. I summoned something insane. Oh no, that's killing him. Killing him, don't tell me. He says, I'm afraid so. I accidentally summoned what I'm most scared of. I just got carried away. Oh no. Did he summon an Eam? He did not summon another Eam or a Nika, did he? Summer says, "You stupid idiot. That thing is terrifying for all of us. Tell me you can control it." He says, "Well, it's a dream demon, so probably." And then Summer says, "Well, what's done is done. Just hurry. We're running out of time. And where's Gunko?" He says, "I saw her on the way here. She looked dead." "What?" says Summers. Summers just continues, "Well, whatever. The great emu's body isn't meant to be out in this world. That's a fact. But now, our key force..." I'm sorry. I'm going to reread this. "Well, whatever. The great emu's body isn't meant to be out in this world. We figured that much already. That's a fact. But now, our key combat forces and the forces that must be erased are all right here. We must not disappoint the Great One. We must live up to expectations," Killingham. "Of course," Killingham responds. And then we cut back over to Western Village. "It's raining cats and dogs all of a sudden. What's going on? The water's going to flood inside. Don't let the injured get wet." Yeah, I agree. "So let's see what the thing is that he is afraid of." "Go! Capture those brats," says Killingham. And then we just see what looks like a water arm. An arm made of water, literally. Break through the door. Grab these kids. Oh, it's actually in the same place as Chopper. He's grabbing all the same kids. And they're all freaking out. "Colin, Yova, there's something outside." All the kids are getting grabbed by this big water hand. And then Killingham says, "For those of us born above the clouds, the idea of water falling from the sky is terrifying. We always heard stories, not only about the D-Clan and Nika, but also the monster known as the Rain God. The one who pelts the lower realm with water from overhead. It appears with the rhythm of the rain dance. Whoa, Zaza! Now that's frightening." I don't know who is saying Zaza. "Help us! The kids!" Everybody's freaking out. There's literally a flood all over the place. Like, the amount of water pouring down here is insane. And then it just says, "God of Rain, Zaza." What I find the most scary. Rain God Zaza, Dream Demon. Killingham says, "I'm bringing them over now. Get ready, Summers. We could set sail whenever," he says. Zoro and Goldberg can actually see the monster, and so can Sanji, both from the distance. "Not good. There's a commotion in the village. Should we go back?" "It'll be fine." Because he sees Sanji. So Zoro actually sees Sanji overhead, flying towards the village right now. And he's looking at him and he yells, "Don't screw up!" And Sanji yells, "Right back at you," because Zoro needs to continue on to go meet up with Luffy and everybody and try to solve this problem and deal with Imu, because he probably knows the most about him, just about from fighting him. Probably about as much as Sanji, but Zoro has noticed that the black stuff turns into bullets and explosions and metal. Right? Something you should probably tell somebody. And then Sanji's heading back to go save all the kids and all the women. What I do find really cool, and now I guess I will do my best to make a video on this in the next couple days. I might even make it today and release it in the next couple days. Whether we like it or not, guys, I don't know what everybody's opinion is. The gods of the One Piece world are finally going to start playing an integral role in the story. We have heard about the gods from as early on as, this is me just recalling from memory, so forgive me if I'm wrong, Skypiea. I believe it was in Skypiea when, actually I think it was during the flashback of Nolan and Kalgara. Nolan had stopped the ritual that was being done by Kalgara and the, what were they, the Shandorians? They had a ritual where they were feeding a live person to the snake. I don't remember what the snake's name was right off the dome. Nova, maybe? I don't remember. Anyways, the snake would be, they would be feeding a person to the snake because of the ancient ritual to please the gods. And I believe in that they had said that the gods they were trying to please were like the earth god, the sun god, the forest god, and maybe the rain god. It was 3 or 4 if I remember correctly. And we know the sun god was mentioned there. That was a big one. And I know the forest god was mentioned there. But I don't know if the rain and the earth, but I'm pretty sure we had rain, and I think we had another one. So that's the earliest I think we've had it mentioned. A couple other times periodically we've had it mentioned. Sometimes almost back in reference to Skypiea, where somebody had said something about a god before, or fighting a god to Zoro. I believe in Zoro's response was, "We already did that." And Luffy did the same thing at one point, where he said, "We've already fought a god before," talking about Ino, who said he was God. But now we're actually getting into the gods of the story more. Clearly, Nika, Luffy is embodying Nika, the sun god. This is the rain, the god of rain, Zaza, who apparently must have been working with the D-Clan. I guess. It's really starting to make me think now that this goddess, a god of rain, is also the god of the ocean, potentially, in my head, maybe. And that this is the god that has issue with devil fruits, and why you sink and devil fruit users use abilities when they're submerged in water or liquids is because of I guess them being clearly this rain god Zaza being on the side of, I guess, Joy Boy, or originally sun god Nika, rather, back in the day, fighting against Eam, who my guess is currently got control of the first devil fruit, which is why his fruit is called the devil's fruit, or the devil fruit, or whatever, the devil fruits, whatever the official has come out as to be. It's probably the origin devil fruit, the original fruit of the devil that might have began the process of making more devil fruits. This god could potentially just be essentially, I guess, the opposite. Probably working alongside Nika, but the opposite to Eam, and I guess maybe even fighting Needhog in them back in the day. We'll have to go through, figure out how many gods have been mentioned in the One Piece story, kind of start piecing together who we think everybody is, but clearly this rain god is going to be pivotal. Right now, it's just a dream demon, but I would assume the rain god does exist. Maybe it's going to be a devil fruit that we find, too, or find out that somebody has. Maybe we find out that it is somebody or a deity that's somehow still alive. I don't know about that, but clearly I think there's going to be a bigger role played either in the current story, like going forward with this character, not just as a dream demon, or at least in the past we're going to see the real god of rain, Zaza. But this is honestly a wild chapter. This thing looks humongous. Like, it's, again, making the giant village look small. It is probably Loki-sized as Nidhogg. Like, really big. I really like her design. She looks really cool. She's also got the big, like, a round thing behind her head, kind of like what Eam does, except instead of hers being a black omen made of black fire, hers looks to just be, as you would think, made of water with, like, little water droplets, like, dripping down and little droplets connecting to that. So it actually looks pretty cool. All of her beads look like they're just water connected to each other in bead form. She's got a cool little, like, kind of Casa hat on. Really cool looking design. I'm really intrigued to figure out her origins and maybe see her in the original form when we get a flashback to, like, the Void Century or even before that at some point, like the Ancient Kingdom. And I'm really curious to see how Sanji is going to handle this situation, because we already know killing him is here, and while killing him thinks he can control it, we know that he has issues controlling his dream demons, or he can. And he even questioned Summers even questioned if he can properly control it, right? But this thing does scare everybody, apparently. All of the gods, or all of the gods' knights at least. Everybody up on Marishwa is afraid of this. And Gunko might be dead, or knocked out. Or my hope is that Gunko was blown up out of the ice by Eam and is just laying there, and I'm hoping that because Eam isn't currently back at Marishwa, maybe they're not inhabiting Gunko in any way, and that's why they're not moving. I'm not sure. It could be that maybe Eam was trying to take out Gunko and they're going to live or something, or we're going to save them, and then we're going to get the whole flashback with them in Brook, and then they're going to give us exposition on Emu and the Gods Knights and the whole situation that we're dealing with in the story. But who knows? Honestly, great chapter. We are on break, so I am going to get something out in the meantime, just because after a 1 week break, and then getting this out, I can't take another week break before I get out something else. This chapter does give us a lot to talk about, clearly, based on the fact that I've talked for 24 minutes on this chapter already. Really good chapter. Honestly, I'm not going to give it much of a rating, though, like, out of anything. Maybe if I was going to, it'd be like a 9 out of 10. Because it's one of those where there's not a lot of action, but it really gave a lot of different exposition for the story and moved a lot of different plot points forward. We got to see Bonnie and Vegapunk. We got to see a little bit of Loki and Emu. We got to find out that Ragnar was alive back in Emu's day. We got to see that Sanji's okay. We cut back to Zoro and Chopper and the whole gang who got cut up. We got to see Biblo and Robin and Saul. Killing him, Summers, we're kind of cutting to everybody. We're getting a little piece of everybody, really, but Luffy, and I guess, like, Jinbei, Nami, that whole group set of those guys weren't shown. But other than that, we pretty much caught up with everybody else, and we even get to see where exactly Sanji is going, and we get an idea of where Zoro is going, which is probably either T'im and Loki, or maybe the rest of the Straw Hats, or Luffy. Probably one of those 3 locations. While Sanji is heading back to save the village again. I don't know what he's going to do, but we'll see. We will see. Well, with that being said, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I will get something put up for another video this coming week. Odds are it's going to be about the gods of the One Piece world, so I'm going to have to do some research. So it'll take me a little time, but I'll see what I can figure out. But in the meantime, I do hope everybody's had a great week. I hope everybody has a great couple days to a week to come. And if you haven't, go out, hug your family, tell somebody you love them, and just have a good day, okay, guys? Later. Bye.